All right, aloha and welcome to the Own the Outcome podcast. My name is Tyler Devereaux, and today we have Miss Lori Abbey. And Lori, I am so excited to have you on the podcast. I have heard great things about you from Strat, from Nico, and obviously, diving into all your content, everything that you do. So before we dive in, welcome to the Own the Outcome podcast.
Thank you. I'm giving you a high five from over here in Colorado. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I watched all your stuff and I'm thrilled to be a part of this. So thanks. And hi, Nico and Strat and everybody. I have a lot of friends in Hawaii, so hi to everybody.
Hey, they're waving back for sure. I love it. You have great energy, great energy. And so that's maybe one thing that I want to even start in with. When I look at your page and Nico tells me all about you, and the question that came to mind was, what do you believe separates you in business? And I know that's a loaded question out the gates. And listen, for those of you who are listening to this, Lori has one of the biggest, best real estate firms in Denver. Not a market that is. It's a very competitive market, and you have grown this amazing business there. And I want to talk about it. But what do you, because I think that, I see things that I think separate you, and I'm sure other people do too. But I want to know from you, what do you believe separates you in business?
All right. It's a list because I've thought about this, so it didn't accidentally happen. That's one thing I say all the time is I didn't get to this place accidentally. I thought about it very clearly. Part of it is that I want to be the person that provides the most value, that makes the process stress-free, that provides the most knowledge, that solves the biggest problems. I want to be the best I can be at my craft for the people that I'm doing business with. So I think when you have that mindset of, okay, I didn't like the way that I did that. I saw somebody else do it better. How can I then be better the next time? And my mindset is constantly wanting to grow and be the best for my clients. I feel like you have to have a mastery of your craft, and that is an everyday, all day thing. I listen to podcasts every single day. I ask how I can improve. I watch what other people do and I try to do that better. And so it just feeds on itself and grows exponentially by doing that over time.
So good. What a powerful answer, right out the gates. That is literally a framework for, success, period. You go and you look at other people and what are they doing better, and how can I incorporate it? And it's these little things that make a massive difference. But you also do big things. I want, if you don't mind, I would love you to talk about how you go the extra mile for your clients. It's one of the things you just kind of hinted on and mentioned, but I want to give, if you have some stories or examples of how you've went the extra mile. And you know what? Tell them about your business first. Let's talk about your business first, and then we can go into what you do the extra mile so that you can, I should have started with that maybe.
That's right. So my business in general, my average price point is about $1 million. So I think I have a lot of luxury properties, and because they sit for longer and we spend a lot of money marketing them, they are in my feed a lot. And so I think people have a misperception that everything I'm selling is $5 to $10 million listings. My average is $1 million. I will sell my very close friend's daughter's $300,000 condo. We'll help our friends out all around the country with relatives. First-time home buyers, we absolutely love working with. Probably our biggest niche is 800,000 to maybe 2 million. And then we do a really good job with, we just do a good job with everything that we do. But my business is very diverse, and I've got a few people surrounding me that think at the same high level that I do. And so while I can't be everywhere at the same time, I have people that are in my mindset, that have the same values, that know our mission, and that can be in those places, and we try to work everything together. So my business is diverse, but it's high level everywhere. And one of the things I pride myself on the most is when I have a first-time home buyer who's got a $300,000 or $400,000 home, and they write a review and say, these guys don't take a day off, let alone a minute. They were there for everything. I'm so proud of the fact that we got to work with them. They treated us like we were a multi-million-dollar client. That is what I want to hear, because that's what I would want if I were in that. I don't want to apologize to someone for having a low price point. We're all on a journey. And so I'm very excited to be with the people on any part of their journey and make that part of their journey that much more special.
That's so good. I love that. That's like, and that is, I have zero doubt that that is, well, first off, a separator, and also, something that you do. It makes a big difference. I can just tell from your energy that that's who you are, and you make people feel a certain way. So, by the way, Abbey Collection is a awesome name, by the way. So I love that you played off of your last name. But let's talk about how you've went. So give me some examples of how you've went the extra mile for your clients, like over, above, and beyond.
Got a few, but I do want to kind of quickly laugh about the Abbey Collection name, because how I got that name. When I first got started in the business, for a couple years, my average price point was about 230,000. And we were buying up foreclosures, and I had a lot of investors, and I was doing HUD properties. I came in the market right when it had crashed. And so my price point was very, very low. And then I would go in my neighborhood or a neighborhood nearby, and I would go to a listing appointment, and they would see my average price point, or they'd ask my name. And so to give the illusion of being bigger, better, fancier, I was Lori Abbey, CEO of the Abbey Collection, but the Abbey Collection was just me, $200,000 houses, but it did sound fancy, and it did create an illusion of being in a little bit higher level than I was, but I knew I was going to get there, and I knew I would take the knowledge and make that happen. So I spoke it into existence.
100%. I actually think it's a beautiful thing. You set these identities, your identity, you set it off of the future version, like where you're going, not where you are. Right. So I actually think that that's a huge piece of the puzzle. So yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly. I knew where I was going, and I knew that just Lori Abbey selling a bunch of investment properties wasn't going to get me into that luxury realm. So that's that. But then you asked about above and beyond. And I mean, the examples are unlimited because it is what makes it fun. It is the going above and beyond and giving somebody that special feeling that takes the hard days and helps get you through them when you see that excitement or that smile, or that you did something that really brought a feeling for somebody else and made them feel special. So I'll give you a couple. One of them, this one's a tiny bit longer, but I'll try to make it fast. We had a client, love him, still a close friend, professional athlete. These boys, he had 4 of them living in the home. We were trying to sell the home because he had gotten traded to Canada. So I'd been asking him over and over again, the house ready. Months go by, and I say, look, if we don't get this on before 4th of July, it's going to cost you $50,000 to $100,000. The market crashes at that point. We've got to get this on. So what I'm going to do is set an open house for Sunday, and your damn house better be ready, period. I hope you don't have to bleep me out. So
No.
of course, 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, I get a call. No, it was probably 9:15. I get a call. Oh, Lori, we don't have the house ready. It's a mess. We haven't built the fence. We've got furniture all over. There's paint on the floor. We haven't built we haven't even put the toilet in the bathroom. And I was like, no, bro, you're not getting away with this. We are putting this house on the market today. And so in fact, we put it on Friday, but our open house was when we would start viewings. So I literally called every friend, family, relative, was able to get 20 people over to the house by 10 o'clock. I have pictures and videos of this, and it is so fabulous. And I just am so proud of this because we had 20 people working from 10 to 2. We put toilets together, light fixtures together. We put sinks in. We scraped all the paint off the floor, built a damn fence. I was planting stuff in the garden. We moved went and got a rental truck from U-Haul, moved all other stuff out. 2:05, I look like Cinderella, but not the pretty one, the one that's just coming out of the embers. So 2:05, the first open house guest walks in, and the house is just finishing that last little bit of the kitchen or the bathroom sink. He walks in and says, "Ja, I think this is a nice house, but it's a little overpriced." And then something we'll talk about later is that I pride myself on. You don't walk into something without knowing 20 times more than anybody else that's ever going to walk in there, because sellers that live in that neighborhood think they know every house that's sold in 20 years. So you better know every house that's sold in 25 years, for example. He walks in and says, la, 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 I think it's overpriced. And as I'm sweeping and have the mop. I said, oh, it's not. The average price per square foot is 385. These are above average finishes. So technically we're underpriced. I think it's a great value. This house sold for this house sold for that, blah, blah. Anyway, all that said and done, I get home 2 hours later, I get a call from that guy. He has cash. He bought it. I double-ended it. Then he refers his son to me 2 months later, and we'd paid cash for a house for him. So having the knowledge, going above and beyond, my client got their house done, market crashes the next week, everybody was happy. And I paid the people that came and helped, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And to me, that is going above and beyond. I'm not letting him get away with it. I want you to make that extra money, and this house has to be on the market today, period.
So good. Like that's so good. What did he do when you showed up to the house? Where all these people showed up to the house? What did he do?
He was dying laughing. You know how athletes like to call everybody by their last name. So he's like, oh, Abby. Oh man, of course, Abby. Like he was just like an athlete. He just was, he couldn't believe it actually. And we are still close friends to this day. He got traded to Canada, and every time he does come back down for a game, gets me and as many people as I want tickets for the game. So very, very happy. And actually, I think he's moving back here. So he already asked me to start looking for houses. So this has, been a 5-year, 10-year friendship and process. So yeah, he was very, very, very happy. And consequently, all of his player friends use me as you would expect. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to make my client happy and do the best I could for him. But the outcome is you go above and beyond, and that gets noticed.
It gets noticed. I actually think it's one of the easiest times in the world. I really believe this. One of the easiest times in the world to separate yourself, because most people won't do it. Like literally to separate yourself, you just do more than is expected. Even just a little bit more than is expected, and you'll separate yourself as an employee, as a business owner, as a husband, as a wife, as a parent. It's like you just do a little bit more than is expected, and it completely changes the game for people. And I look at it and I always say that business is just an experience. You're always making people feel a certain way. And so my goal is this is why I love that, like when you mentioned it, why like I wanted to drill in on it, because I believe that I'm obsessed with providing unexpected value, because unexpected value makes people feel a certain way. And it just doesn't turn into a transaction. It turns into a friendship. What you mentioned was a friendship you had created.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. It's that feeling. And when they have that feeling and that excitement, just like you and I would do in that situation, if someone had done that for us, for me, I would tell everyone, I'd be like, dude, do you know what my realtor did? And again, I did it because I knew that was the best for my client at the time. But if someone had done that for me, I would want to tell everyone. I'd be like, well, listen to this. 10 o'clock, my house looked like this. 2 o'clock, it looked like this. 5 o'clock, it's under contract.
Mm-hmm. So good. That's so good. Have you ever read the book Unreasonable Hospitality?
Oh my goodness. Not only have I read it, I'm teaching a class right now, and their assignment for this week was to read Unreasonable Hospitality.
No way. That's crazy.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And in the class, I shared some examples from the book to get people excited about it. And one of the girls started it last night, and she wrote on our WhatsApp text chain that she had already had tears in her eyes twice, and it's been inspiring her to really get excited about business again. Because again, it's been tough in real estate the last few years, and I think we've all been feeling really down. So anything we could do to even inspire ourselves and bring that passion back changes everything. And then it changes it for me, and then anyone I work with and anyone they work with. So, we single-handedly do all these things and have this unreasonable hospitality towards each other and the people we work with and our clients and our family. Like imagine how many things we can change, how many layers are beyond us.
I'm gonna have my company read it. You just inspired me to death, because I read it and I loved it, and I start talking about it, but I don't know why I haven't had my company read it. I'm going to have my company read it. It's so good.
Have them read it. Then we can have a book club together, all of us.
So I'm in. I'm totally in. So let's talk about that, because go ahead.
That'd be fun. I'd like to do it. Then I can hang out with you guys and see you guys again.
That would be so fun to have, different companies come together for a book club. I actually love it. I think that'd be a phenomenal idea. So I was going to drill down on it because you said that the real estate market's been challenging, and it has been challenging. And I want you to, because what you said is it brings more purpose. When you do those little things, you find that joy again, it brings more purpose. How do you get clear on what those mission is, your mission is, what your values are? Like, how do you hone it? Do you have a process for honing in on what that is, and what has that done for you?
Yeah. This was our assignment for 2 weeks ago for the class, was to spend the last 2 weeks honing in on our mission, our vision, our values, our ideal client. And so we did that, and it was actually so much more challenging than you think, because obviously your mission has to bring up this feeling of passion and emotion, and these emotions and the passion. And if you don't have a mission that makes you feel those things, then it's not the right mission. So for 2 weeks, I put it into AI. I did this. I took, this was a suggestion I had read on Tom Ferry, was take your best reviews that you love, throw it into AI, and tell AI, this is who I am. This is who my clients see me as. Make this into my mission statement. And then another thing that we did was take a full page of values, circle our values, have AI throw that in there. So I had about 20 AI ChatGPT versions. As you would guess, 0 of them had emotion. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to leave it here for a minute. I'm going to work on the vision. Kind of went through the whole same process, had a vision. They were similar, and they did have the feeling of me. So they were not far off. Went back to the values, went back to my ideal client, went even back a little bit further to the things that brought me the most joy in this business. And it was when I went back further, I did have all this other stuff first, but it was when I went back further to exactly what I was just describing for you, looked back at the reviews that brought me the most sense of pride and joy, looked back at the things that brought that excitement up in me, then I was able to take my more bland AI version, mission and vision, and take the actual real me with my real clients, my real feelings, and put them in there. And now I am excited about real estate again. And every single person in my class felt exactly the same way. They were all struggling. They had stuff and just couldn't get the emotion. And it really took 2 full weeks of writing and rewriting and thinking. And we were all sharing with each other what was working and what wasn't. And then came in 5 minutes before class, the night before class, but in that 2 weeks, we all got to that point for the most part. But it was a process. And so you can't just think you're going to sit down and go, oh, what's my vision? And then there's your vision, and you go, it is something that requires deep thought. Then once you have that, that needs to be on a piece of paper that's with you wherever you go. So when you're making decisions about how you're spending your marketing dollars, should I do this for this client? Oh, I'm feeling down today. Well, but my mission is this. Okay. Let me get back in the game. And I think you carry that around with you, and you really do. We're going to have them laminated for all of our students, and we are going to ask people to carry it around. So when you're having those feelings, get back to what got you that emotion.
That's so good. So, I actually have this. I was talking about the 3 most important questions, or the 3 critical questions, and and I do this literally when I go into anything. Like, I do it before this interview. I do it when I go spend time with my kids. I do it before a meeting, whatever. It is, what do you want? Like, what's the actual outcome that you're looking for? What's that result that you're looking for? Second, and these are linear. Second question is why. And the why is that deeper, how I define it is the deeper meaning, the emotional, deeper reason behind it, right? And there has to be emotion behind it, because you have to know why you're doing it. So many people get stuck in question number 3, which is the how. They just start doing these things without any purpose behind it. Like, or even a target.
Out, right? That's when you get burnt out.
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And if you don't have that to be able to come back to, and I'm talking at a big level like you're talking about, and then even at a granular level for projects and things like, okay, is this thing really getting me to the outcome, or is it a distraction? I just believe most things are a distraction to the actual true outcome that you're looking for. And then if you can
get into, I would add that to my class. That is absolutely, I really like what do you want? What is the outcome that you want when you go in here? I love that. It goes with
Me
everything
too.
I'm saying, but it just adds just that little bit, a little bit more clarity. And it's the clarity with the excitement and the why that you need.
Yeah, what, why, how, and then the how, and then I just start listing all these things. Okay, I can do this, 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 and this to get there. I'm gonna do this, right? And then you choose when you go.
No.
I love it. Yeah, bringing. Why is it important to you? Like you look at your space. Why is that important for you to train people on like business is business. People look at business and they think the opposite of emotion. I do not personally. I think it is, I do not view it that way, but a lot of business or transactional people will view it that way. Why do you believe that it's so important to tap into your reason, to tap into your purpose, to tap into your why?
Well, again, if you are operating at the top of your field, you have challenges all day, every day. You get burnt out. You're working a lot of hours. You didn't get to the top of your field by just screwing around all day long and then you put an hour in of work. That's not that stressful. So if you got to the top of your field, you are stressed out. You've had challenges. You're solving problems. What do they say? The size of your paycheck is somehow related to the size of problems that you're able to solve. So if that's the case, that means we're solving problems all day long, which means there are problems all day long. So if you do not have what we were just talking about, the why, the emotion, you get to exactly what I kind of interrupted you, which I apologize for. I interrupted and said, that's what causes burnout. So if you don't remember why you're doing this, you don't have the passion behind it, it is being bombarded constantly all day, every day with problems, with something that you have to solve, with somebody that was disappointed, with something that didn't go the way that you wanted it to do. And if you don't have the big overriding why and purpose and excitement behind it, you are really, you're going to burn out. I mean, I've done it. One of the reasons I have been redoing some of this stuff with my team and with the people that I'm helping in this class is exactly that. We kind of all got really busy and then the market kind of crashed and then we were and it was a weird couple years with COVID and then the after effects. And I truly think people lost the time to think about their why. For a while it was just rush, 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 get it done. There was so much going on and then it crashed. And and then you have this other kind of emotion of this was my life and now this is my life and where do I go with it? And so again, without the why, you're going nowhere fast with it. You're burnt out, you're sad, you're switching industries, you're not reaching out to clients because you feel down. I mean, and then when people do reach out to you, you have a different kind of energy. But if your passion and why is there, okay, all right, this is time to regroup. How do I take this mission back into this market and educate people differently and get people excited differently? So I just think having that there always helps you think, I guess, to the most current standards and not get bogged down in all of the crap that's there around you all day, every day.
So, gosh, that's so good. So it has to transcend self. The purpose has to be bigger than self. And so I wasn't planning on asking you this question, but I want to ask you this question because one of the things we talk about your business name, the Abbey Collection, like you saw that you wanted to get into this luxury real estate space. And so you created a name that fit that future version of yourself, right? So if I were to ask you, and then it's the same thing with what you were just talking about with your why, like your why has to transcend self, and it can even be your current self, like the current version of yourself, and then it transcends your future version. That's a true person. That's a real person. That's a real thing. And so the decisions we make today are helping or hurting that future version of yourself, that future version of your company, whatever it is. But if I were to ask you, Lori Abbey, if you have an identity statement, I'm putting you on the spot right now, but like if you had an identity statement that was just a short and condensed identity statement for the future version of yourself, and I'll give you an example so you can get your mind. And do you already have it? It looks like you might already know what that is.
I know what it is. I did.
Let's hear it.
I wrote, well, it's actually, mine was a little longer, so I'm going to have to truncate it. I wrote a letter from my future self to me, telling myself how fabulous my life is and what it's going to look like 3 years from now. So I was going to write a 1-page, and I did do a 1-page eventually, but it's like a freaking 7-page letter to from my future self to me, telling me all about the life I have in 3 years. So is that what
I
you're asking about?
110%. So I do that, Lori. We've not we've literally not planned this. We haven't talked about this. I do that. I write a story and I write it in. So I think the key from what you just said is you write it like it's already happened. And that's the same thing that I do. Yeah. Not like, oh, this is where I'll be. No, I look at it and it's like, this is where I am and this is how come and this is what happened and this is the journey. I do the same thing. I freaking love it. I love that you already.
You saw it on my face when you were asking. You're like, here's something about what I think about. Like, well, I thought about it, did it, wrote it from my future self back to me. And you're right. That was the thing is this is what your life looks like now and getting that excitement. So this Lori is talking to the current Lori, this future Lori, and she is so excited about all the things happening. So then you put that emotion behind it again, and you put that out there in the universe, just like the Abbey collection. We created in advance the luxury brand, and now we are creating in advance the 2026 Lori. So 2027 Lori.
I love it. So give me one thing from it. One thing, Lori, 3 years from now that you can do more of or have more of or have that you don't have now, or do or impact that you don't. What's one thing that's on there? Just give me one taste of it. What is up, y'all? Listen, if this podcast has brought joy or value at some point as you're listening to it, we would love it if you would be so kind as to leave us a review down below. That is how we keep this thing moving and finding individuals just like you to pour value into. Now let's get back to the show.
Okay, one thing that I want to do is with the people that are in my immediate circle, and then with the people that I'm teaching, I want to take that and use that as sort of a springboard to transform the entire real estate industry to being an industry where we are all thinking of how we can add value, go above and beyond, change the reputation, make real estate agents. I just want them all to operate from the same sort of mindset in the same place. So in my future self, that is one of the things I'm doing, is impacting obviously I can't impact everybody in your vision statement you do, changing the life of every single real estate agent. So they are providing joy and they are feeling joy, and they are providing an experience that is at the top of their craft, a mastery.
They're providing joy and experiencing joy, and those are kind of one and the same, huh? Like if you're providing joy, you're feeling it, and if you're not feeling it, you're probably not providing it. So just switch it.
Exactly. I just saw something today that said something like lack of confidence kills, what was it? Whatever it was. Something kills ambition, and that was all these things. This kills that, and then at the end, the girl said, "Read it backwards." So then it was like confidence kills doubt. So it was, So they go hand in hand, absolutely, and that is true. Sometimes we'll have first-time home buyers who are so fabulous to work with. It's so appreciative and so excited about our experience that we have, that we can make it better and less stressful for them. We can give them answers to things they didn't even know they needed to know or wanted to know, and just make them feel so confident about something that's very scary. If you're spending $500,000 as your first purchase, that's a lot of money, and that's a very stressful thing. So when we go above and beyond, and we let them know in advance what this is going to look like and how the process is, and then we talk them through every single thing before it becomes something stressful, and they end it with these beautiful reviews, and they end it saying, "Man, I didn't think you worked with first-time home buyers. This was the greatest in the world. We're so happy, and we're having our closing, and we're having champagne." And that is when we feel the most joy, and they're apologizing to us. And literally me and my team are always like, "No, let me tell you, thank you, because your excitement about this brought back the excitement to us about this process and reminded us why we do this and the impact that we want to have."
Yeah, it is. It's so, man, it so much goes both ways. And if you're doing it right, you feel like you're getting more out of the transaction than the other person. Now that sounds bad, but it's like you do really feel like that. You feel like you're getting more, but what is beautiful about that is it makes you want to give more. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question about challenges, because we've talked a lot about growth and our vision and all these kind of things. So the title of the podcast is the Own the Outcome podcast. And so when I just say that, own the outcome, before I get into anything else, what is that for you in your head when you hear that? What does that mean to you? Own the outcome.
You're not a victim.
Love it. Agreed. That's it.
You are in control. You're not in control of every one of your circumstances, but you're obviously in control of how you react to them. And you are in control of creating your own life and moving around the circumstances that may get put in front of you. But you have choices. And when you give that power to somebody else and act like a victim, you take away your own choices. So that's what that means to me.
That's so good. That is how I view it. And I love how you said right out the gates is that you're not a victim. And that's it. And then you said you're not in control of everything. We're not. I mean, yet most things we're not in control of, but you are in control with how you react or respond. And that's how I view it. It's no matter the circumstance, no matter the event, you choose a perspective, a response that is serving to the ultimate outcome, which is why you need to know what you want and why you want it, so you know how to react when the circumstance or the challenge or the problem happens. But somebody looks at you, I guarantee, super successful business owner, social media following, attractive, all these kind of things. Yeah, life has just been so easy and handed to you, right? Or have there been challenges that you've had to overcome?
I mean, one or two, I guess. No, yeah, that is, I guess it goes with your whole own the outcome. There have been times always throughout my life, I'll kind of be at the bottom, figure out how I could get to the next level, sit there for a minute and continue doing that. So when I grew up, we were very, very poor. My parents were 16 and 18 when they had me. So we lived in a trailer park, the poorest school in the entire town. It was a not the best start to alcoholic parents, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. That's stuff that so many people go through, and you either take it and you repeat it, or you take it and you grow from it. And so I remember reading a lot of books, and I remember thinking, if somebody can do this. So it kind of goes back to, I'll go back to, this was my attitude from early on. I'm 9 years old, and I'm the teacher's aide for also the basketball coach, and he's having a boys basketball camp. And I said, I want to do it. And he said, you can't, you're a girl. It's a boys basketball camp. I'm 57. So this was almost 50 years ago. This almost,
You're 57.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got it. Mike, you got to give me your skincare routine. Holy shit.
Well, it's expensive. Oh. There's a little Botox involved, but that aside, we'll get back to that some other time. But so that's 50 years ago this happened. So this is back then, that was a big deal. And so I said, well, that's okay, I want to do it anyway. And so he let me do it. I'm tall, I'm a girl. Girls were ahead of boys at that time. So I was a better athlete than the boys. I was very successful, which worked out in my favor because it brought me a lot of confidence that I was a good athlete. And it turned out that I then went to the Junior Olympics that year, because I then got in my own mind that the identity of, oh, look, I'm an athlete. Went to the Junior Olympics, got second in the nation, and then played every sport for the rest of my junior high and high school season. And I think it was from that one decision. But one of the things that I always would tell myself is, if somebody could do it, then why can't I do it? And that's the thing that I go through all the time. And that if someone could do it, why can't I do it? Then how can I do it? And who else is doing it? And how do I model from them, but then make it my own? And so it's just a process that I go through all the time. And sometimes you get stuck. I'd say this last year or two, I've been a little bit stuck and a little bit burnt out and a little bit, and so then I do the same thing and pick myself back up and okay, all right. And so even when I started in the real estate industry, I started when the market was down, and I had a job with a salary. I had insurance. I was a single mom. Everybody said, what the hell are you doing? You can't do this. And I'm like, somebody can. I mean, if these guys are succeeding in it and somebody's eating, then why can't I eat and find a way to eat? There's a way to eat. Someone else can do it. I can do it. And so again, that's always been my thought process, and then you just find a way to make that happen. I think that was the answer. The question was a long time
Oh,
ago. I went on and on, so sorry.
so no, so I'm literally like, I'm like not so good. It's so, because you literally broke down, whether you realize you're doing this or not, you break down a framework on how your mind thinks through a challenge. And I think that there is very few things that are more valuable than to see how a high level person's mind, yours, operates, and the questions you ask yourself. So the way that we change our, change, well, really, I believe our life is a couple things. Number one, our physiology, because it takes energy and we have to take care of our physiology, like our physical body. And that could be, obviously we need to take care of it, but then also like how we move our body, how we stand. But another one is language. And the language that you use is powerful language. Why not me? If somebody else can, why can't? Of course I can, right? It's like you are selling yourself to yourself, and that is a framework for success. I like literally want to go back and take notes on it, and I will take notes on it. I will come back, and I promise you I'll re-listen. My notepad's already stinking full, but I will go by and take notes because it's a framework. You broke it down. It's so good. I freaking love it. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, it was really fun. And it is a process that I go through, and I really enjoy it. But again, we all get kind of down. We all go backwards. It's not like all day, every day, I get up in the morning and think these things. You do it and you get yourself going, and then you sort of plateau, and then you're not feeling it again. And then you have to remind yourself. Well, and again, I always wonder too, when I'm in those down phases, because I feel like everybody I know goes through them. I have to think they do. So I feel like when I'm in that down phase, I think, okay, there are people who wrote their first book at 70. There are people who peaked at 80, peaked at 50, peaked at 70. And then there are people who peaked at 20. And then from that point forward, just sort of went backwards. So what's the difference in the way each of them thought and saw the world? And then again, like I said, how do you be more like that? So whenever I'm sort of feeling like, ugh, and then I have to go, wait. Somebody else did this at 70. Someone else did this at 60. I'm not even there yet. So I'm able to recreate myself again, recreate my own mind, get excited about life again and go in that direction. But it does take you consciously thinking it through and knowing that when you're down, that doesn't have to be where you are. You get to choose how to get yourself back to that next place. So feeling down, I don't want people to ever think that, oh, just because I'm excited on this podcast and you're excited and we're both happy, doesn't mean I'm not sitting at my house sometimes going, shit, what do I do next? Where is this it? Is this all there is?
But and I think it's so important to realize and to recognize and understand for anybody out there, no matter where you're at in the journey, literally no matter what stage you're at in the journey, if you're growing, those things are going to be happening because you're trying to push through something. If you're just giving up, well, yeah, you're just giving, or you've just chilled, then okay, cool. But nobody listening to this is like that. Like we're achievers. And so like, there's going to be times where, in fact, if you haven't felt that moment where you want to quit, where you feel like there's not a way out, where you feel like it's going to, then you haven't pushed yourself. You haven't even been in the arena yet. Like it's going to happen.
No, that's what I used to tell my daughter, who by the way is friends with all of your friends there as well that you work with. I used to tell her when she would go skiing, she would get so upset, like I fell 5 times and this happened and that happened. I was like, dude, that is so cool. Oh my gosh, did you really? Because if you're not falling, that means you're not trying. So the fact that you're falling means you're working it, you're going hard, you're taking risks, you're trying new things, you're falling down. And then guess what happened next? You picked yourself right back up. And the next time you go out, you'll probably fall fewer times, but you still better fall because otherwise you're not doing anything differently. Like, maybe when you reach expert level, but that's my thing is great. If you're falling, you are still trying, you are making an effort and you're taking risks.
You're growing and you're taking risks. Okay. So here's my question to you. In those times when you've fallen, when you've taken a risk, when you've pushed yourself, when you're going through a challenging time, Have you ever had it where somebody, as you're going through the challenging time, they're just they're reveling in your challenge. They love to see. They. It's almost like, you know, your daughter out there skiing and she's falling, and they're like, "You dipshit! You couldn't have done that. I knew you shouldn't even try." Have you ever experienced that in the business world or in life?
You know what? You're probably not going to believe me, and this might be because my initials are LA, and so sometimes people think I live in a place called La La Land. But in my mind, I do not feel like people have reveled in my downtimes. I feel like everybody cheers me on, tries to pick me back up, and knows that I would do the same. I truly don't think, I just don't think so. Anna's sitting here with me, and she's been with me for several years now, and I don't feel like we've ever had a moment where we felt like, shit, we didn't. Yeah, that people seem extraordinarily deeply happy for our success, that's how I feel. And I feel like they really do. Like I said, I just could be imagining it, but I feel like they
Mm.
do.
Okay, so do you know who Eric Thomas is? E.T., the hip hop preacher. Okay.
Oh my God, one of my absolute favorites. I say all the time, you owe you an explanation. You look at yourself in the mirror. No excuses. That's my favorite one of his, the 7-minute version.
Yes, so good. I love Eric, and
Absolute favorite.
yeah, he is a beast. And I'll tell you, like, he came and spoke at one of my events called Peak Partnership, and there are a handful of people where I literally just like, I had this dream of having their phone number in my phone, and ET's one of them. And I have he's came and spoke at Peak. We built this relationship. I have his phone number in my phone. And what?
Oh,
and that's
send it to me. I want it.
we'll have to make it happen. I'm going to tell him about the UOU. So UOU actually right before that launched is when he came and spoke at my event. In fact, he had just gotten the book. Like, it hadn't been, he had just gotten his copy, so like the first one that like it's his, you know, and it's like he hands it to me, he's like, check this out. And I take it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, thank you. He's like, no, that's my copy, I ain't giving it to you, that's my I'm like, oh my bad. But here's what he told me. He said he got a question from the crowd about something about racism, and he said I mean, people say that it's out there, but I'll be honest with you, when I walk down the street, maybe they just don't walk on the same street as me. Maybe they just don't eat at the same restaurants as me. Maybe they don't live in the same neighborhood as me. People say it's out there, but they're not in my world. I don't see it. And it's a choice, right? Because you know, there's definitely, it's out there. Like, he knows it's out there, but not in his world, because he chooses to see greatness.
See it differently. He chooses to be grateful. He chooses to see, I mean, you get to, what do they say? Where focus goes, energy flows, that kind of stuff. Like, he knows it's there. He's probably passed right by it several times, and that's what I talk about a lot of times. That goes with the victim mentality in anything. Do women sometimes get put under a glass ceiling, or is there jealousy? All of these things are probably there. But I also think two things. One, I can choose to see all of the good things and all the supportive people. And then two, obviously the energy you put out is the energy you get back. So maybe somebody did say something racist towards him, and he chose not to hear it and chose to respond back with love. And then maybe that changed that situation around. So maybe it wasn't what it could have been, or maybe not. I mean, I don't know, but that feels like where I might see it. Have there been things where maybe somebody said something snarky, and then if I respond back with love and joy, that sort of takes the power away from that, doesn't it?
Okay. What surrounds you is within you, okay? What surrounds you is within you. And I'm going to give you an experience that I just had. I have not shared this with anyone. This literally happened 2 days ago. I come in, and I'm coming in the parking lot. As I'm coming in the parking lot, I have a big truck. It's a Ford Raptor. It's loud. It's obnoxious. It's lifted. Okay. But it's just loud. And I like to drive fast, but I'm coming in the parking lot, and this lady is crossing. So like, I'm stopped because she's like crossing, and she has a brace on her leg, and she's walking slow. And I don't care at all, but she looks at me once she gets past me, and then I'm going, she kind of looks at me like, And in my mind, she looks at me like she's pissed at me is what I saw. And but I didn't want her to be pissed at me because I was not angry that she's walking slow. I literally could not care. And so I just smiled. I smiled. I gave her a shock. I was like, hey. I just smiled super big. Okay? And then I park and I get out and she's still kind of looking at me. I'm like, hey, how are you today? And she's like, I'm doing so good. How are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm so good. She's like, I like your truck. And I was like, I love this truck. I love this truck. It's like a toy to me. She's like, I can tell. You're so smiley. Even when you get out of it, you're so smiley. She says, and I got to tell you something. And I said, what? She said, I left a note on your truck the other day because somebody had left a note on my truck. And I have no idea who. There's lots of cars out there. They left a note on my truck that said, hey, slow down. There's kids here or something like that. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, was I going too fast in the parking lot? Because sometimes I don't even realize it, And it was her, and she said, and I want you to. I wrote that note because I saw you going. Now I know why you were going a little bit faster. Number one, I actually don't think you were going that fast. I think your truck's just loud. Number two, it's because you're just happy and joyful. And so you know what? If you need to go fast, go fast. And I bust up laughing, And it was like, geez, it's like what surrounds you is within you. So many times our reactions will rub off on other people in a good way or a bad way.
Yeah, look how you could have, if you had thought she was looking at you like she was pissed, and then you looked at her like, bitch, move faster.
Yes.
That whole day for both of you would have gone differently. Entire day.
That's so true. I didn't even think about the aftermath of that. That's so true. That's so true.
That's amazing.
So good.
Well, man, I wish that I would respond like that all the time. I don't always. And so that's why I got to share the good shit.
Believe me, I was thinking of some fabulous responses I've had and how it's gone so beautifully. And then I was thinking of some responses that I still shake my head and don't understand how they came out of someone that has so much love in her heart. Some of them do not seem that loving. So, yes,
Well,
I'd like to have
too.
more of those and fewer of the ones that I shake my head about. And I'm working on that. And I would guarantee that if you look back 5 years and 5 years and 5 years and 5 years, there are a lot more of your positive type energy reactions than there would have been 5 years before, 5 years before that. So I certainly am not perfect. Dude, there are some times some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth. And then the rest of the time I'm love.
The rest of the time I'm love. I love it. And that's true. The progression is like we get better. I just got a couple more questions. I want to be respectful of your time, but I got a couple more questions. And one of them was because we talk about building. Well, actually, I'm going to ask you the negotiation one instead, which is, and then maybe I'll finish with the other one. The negotiation one, you are great at negotiating for your clients and finding win-win scenarios. Do you have because I will tell you, I do not believe that this is a strength of mine at all. It's like but I think it could be. So I want to learn from you. Do you have a strategy for negotiation? Do you have something that you have in your mind as you're going in for negotiation? How do you handle that process?
Yeah, I do every single time. So the first thing I do, it's a lot of communication at the beginning. One, establish a really strong relationship of trust with the person that you're negotiating with so that and then also express and let them understand your knowledge base. If you're coming into this negotiation where they have respect for you and where they already trust you and they know that your intentions are good, it's going to completely change the way that they feel about the negotiation, whether they feel like you're going to try to get a win-win or not. So establishing that trust, that base of knowledge at the very beginning. And then the second big thing. So again, I'll start every one of our negotiations with another agent. A lot of agents don't make that time to make that phone call and establish that relationship. And then again, I will always slip in, I've sold 5 other houses. I mean, not necessarily that, but 5 other houses in that neighborhood. And this is just such a beautiful home and la, 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 la. So help them understand that I know that neighborhood. I know it well. I've sold a lot there. But again, doing it all from a very place of we're together in this. And then the second thing I do is figure out with each side what their pain point, what their bottom line is, and what they're willing to give up and what they absolutely have to have. So once you know on both sides, if you say, hey, what does your seller need? Like, what's the most important thing to them in this offer? And when you ask that question, a lot of times they'll say, well, the only thing they care about is money, or they want the money, but they really need to be able to live here for 3 more months because their house isn't ready, or whatever that is. Once you have that conversation, you understand exactly where you need to try to negotiate. So then you go back to your clients and you say, this is what they need. You know, we could probably get it for a little bit less if we could give them some time. When is your lease up, or when are we, selling your house? So if we can give some time, I bet we could maybe push it and get another 15,000 off. And so kind of go back and forth that way. And then I let everybody know, if they feel like they're giving up just a little bit, it's still a win. If they feel like they've given up a little bit, but they've gotten a win, then they win. So even just helping establish the expectations on both sides that we're all going to give up a little bit. There's no point where everyone's going to leave a negotiation where somebody wins everything and somebody loses everything, and then it's going to end up happy. You're going to end up happy if y'all get your win and you're all willing to give up just a little bit to get there. So that's how I approach every single negotiation. And I will tell you, most agents love dealing with me. If they can do a deal with me, they will do a deal with me, because they know we're going to try to get to that place as in the best way possible for the most of us.
I literally, I know, I told you that I'm excited to go back and take notes on this convo, and really will. And I've had this like little blank space. I got one left little blank space corner, and I hurried to start writing it down because it was so good. This mutual respect, and you do it by pre-framing of like, hey, I know the market. It's just it's a credibility statement that's like, I'm not trying to lowball you. I know the market. Before you're talking about any prices of anything, it's just this mutual respect. And then it's their top pain points and top priorities. And those top pain points, top priorities, are so built to also tying it back into building trust, because, hey, what do you need? This is your question, they said, what does your seller need? Or what is your seller, what do they need if you're buying? Like, what a beautiful way to I want to help you get what you need. What do you need? Okay, now let me take it back. And then you take it back to your buyer, and it's like, hey, this is their need. This is what they need. You need this. They need this. That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, I do really think everybody leaves happy. And also, if you just tell everybody they're going to have to give up just a little bit, as long as they have that expectation, they don't feel like it's a loss. They feel like, oh, well, this is part of the win. I got a bigger win and a small loss. Small loss is okay because the win was bigger. So just even explaining that to them, because, sometimes people are very competitive. And if they feel like they got a little bit of a loss, they might be upset. But if they feel like, oh, this little bit of a loss led to the big win. Oh, okay, cool. We won.
Yes. That's yes. That is. So how do you pull the top priorities for your buyer, as an example, if you're representing the buyer, how do you pull the top priorities out of them? How do you recognize or identify what their top priorities are, so kind of where that wiggle room is?
Funny, you ask them, which obviously I didn't mean that sarcastically. You ask them, but that is not how you actually tell, because you ask them, and a lot of times they say something, but they act emotionally differently. So you have to be very connected and pay close attention, because it's even when you're looking at houses. I've had people say, I don't care if we have to update the house. That's perfectly fine. We'll update the house. We like to put it a little equity, sweat equity, etc. Right? They'll tell you that. So you pull a couple houses that are already done, and then a couple houses that need sweat equity, and you go look at the houses, and then the ones that need work, 100% of the time they go, oh, I love this new kitchen in this one. So they told me something they thought they were okay with, but emotionally they showed me that was not the case. So, and we could tell this within probably 3 or 4 showings with people. What they say and what they really mean are often 2 different things. So yes, the first step is to ask them, and they will tell you what they think that they want. And then the real step is to watch how their emotions and actions match up with what they said. And sometimes you have to go back and tell them. You go back and tell them, you said this, but I'm noticing a visceral reaction that looks more like this. And then they will sometimes go back and go, yeah, I don't want to tear a kitchen apart and live without a kitchen, you know, but they thought in their mind that's what they should think, or their parents said to them, you should put some equity in the house. Somebody said something to them, and so they got in their mind that was a good idea, but they don't want to do it.
Okay, and that is service. Like maybe they feel ashamed or nervous to say it. And because you actually care, I know you care because of what you just said. You care, I know, dude, because it's not, you're literally watching them and then you're willing to go have that conversation of, hey, I hear you, but I see you and I see this, and there's no judgment. It's like, I want you to get what you want, but like, I see this. And everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to feel heard. Everyone wants to feel, just accepted, and you provide that to people through the house buying, selling process. Like, that's amazing.
You just added a little bit more to my mission statement, making people, actually, I think that's even in the mission statement, people, making sure that people feel cared about and understood. So that is part of the mission statement. So you called it out right there. They want them to have a feeling that they actually are understood.
Thank you. Aloha. So my tagline for my investment company is invest with aloha. And aloha, like people think aloha means hello, goodbye, and it does. But aloha, when you break down the word, alo means to see, and ha is breath of life. So to see, when I say, so you'll see that when people say aloha, people say it back. And it's because it's when I say aloha, I'm saying I see the God in you, and it's reciprocal, right? Like by seeing the God in you, I also know that you'll also see the God in me, what we talked about earlier, what surrounds us is within us. But it's like, I see the God in you, you see the God in me. So when we see each other not living up to, what we're saying, right? We breathe life into each other. And it is like, that's the true meaning of aloha. And that, in my opinion, is true love. Love isn't passive. Love is, hey man, I see you and I love you for who you are, and I'm going to help you get that best version no matter what that is, right?
That, oh my gosh, that is another sentence that I wrote when I was writing my mission and vision. I said, I want to be my best self for the people in my life, and I want to see the best self within each of the people in my life and bring that to the surface. So that's actually I think that's in my 2027 Lori statement, is that every interaction, I am my best self in that interaction, and I bring out the best in that person. So exactly. So I didn't know it was aloha.
I love it. That's so good, dude. I've enjoyed this conversation so much. I got to tell you, like, a lot. And,
absolute, like, so much fun. We could probably sit here and talk for another 6 hours. This is great.
I know, by hell, I don't even know how long it's been, but I know that I'm getting the the next one. So, man, thank you so much for taking the time. And the last question, I'm going to hit you with one last question to wrap. And the last question is this is very like surface level stuff, but what is the most bitchin' either house that you've seen or sold, or what's the most bitchin' feature within a house that you've seen or sold? I would love to know that. I know that's very surface level. It goes above and beyond all this other stuff, but I'm just telling you, it's a question that I had the minute that I saw your feed. I'm like, I bet she's seen some bitchin' places.
Well, I have, but our favorite place is one that we have for sale right now. It's in Littleton. It's up on a hill kind of overlooking Red Rocks. It is all of our favorite house. It's 12 million, but it's got views of the Red Rocks. But in between these Red Rocks that peak up, you can see the city. So the sun is setting, you can see the city lights, the Red Rocks. It's got a pool, it's got this, but guess what it has? You've got the theater room, you got all that other stuff. Has a basketball court inside. Inside.
That's sick. Yep.
So I have to send you the video, because we made a video, and as I've told you, I love basketball, have season tickets to the Nuggets, like just a basketball lover. So in our video where we're showcasing the house, I'm wearing heels and leather pants, and I went and under the basket did a crossover layup, and I was 8 for 9, just I know. So in my heels. So we'll send you over that video, but yeah, this is my favorite house. And if you look on my feed, maybe I'll send that to you too. I absolutely love it. It's cozy and warm, but modern. It's transitional. It's open. It's got light. It's got views from every room. I just absolutely love it. I mean, there's
I love it.
a beautiful spa here, or an indoor outdoor pool where you could, we have sold some wonderful houses. This one to me this is a house that I would buy and live in, and it would just feel like my dream.
Yep. Send it over. I want it.
Inside in Hawaii, then there we go.
Hey, send it over. Send it over. And we'll put it in the Strat can layer it into some of the episode. And then also, though, you got to say, I'm holding you to two things. One, sending over the video or pictures of the house. And I love the Red Rocks area. Like, come on. Red Rock Amphitheater is my favorite concert venue I've ever been to in my life. Like, that area is amazing. But then your crossover layup, we got to put that in the YouTube version as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing it right now and you're loving it, you're welcome.
All right, I'll send you that. We'll send both of these over. Oh my gosh, this was truly so much fun. And I have so much joy that Strat was back there behind the scenes. Hi, Strat.
I couldn't do this without Strat, that is for sure. Strat's a beast.
We all did the Spartan race together.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. I did the Spartan race with Strat and Nico one year and had to get carted out.
What?
I had to get carted out. Yep. I highly overestimated my abilities and did not prepare. Like literally, Lori, this is what we're talking about. I literally showed up. First off, for breakfast, I ate cheese and crackers. I said some cheese and some crackers. That's it for breakfast. I showed up I didn't even have a shirt. I just had shorts, shoes, nothing. I literally had nothing.
I like your confidence in your athletic ability. There's that.
Big learning lessons. Yeah, humbling experience for me. So.
Someone who knows the word, understands the word humbling.
very, very much so. Hey, learn the next one. Next one we're all doing together. So.
Absolutely. I've got some friends out there that wanted me to come out for this last one. So I'm in. I'm coming out. We'll do this together. Bring ET. We'll all do it.
Done. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time. I'll put all your social links and everything for the business below. Go connect with Lori. Go share this episode. I know you pulled value from this episode, and I cannot wait to re-listen personally to go take even more notes than I have. Thank you so much for taking your time. Everybody else out there, thank you so much for being here as well. Once again, go share this episode. Go follow Lori and live always with aloha. Peace.